All right. Welcome to Milonga Mascarita, the podcast, number 6, the last one of the year. And this is a program where we talk about the issues, the stories, the backstories, and the influencers in tango today. And my guest is all of those. He has a wonderful story. And just to introduce him would take half the podcast. So let me just quickly sum it up. My guest is a grand maestro, dancer, choreographer, teacher, actor, documentary filmmaker. He was referred to as the Gene Kelly of Latin dance. I've probably left a few things out, but joining me from Buenos Aires is Junior Cervila, the legendary Junior Cervila. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ray. It's a pleasure for me to be part of this podcast and virtually in China for the first time.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you. And I'm Ray Rudowski, the host. We are now in a situation where we're in a lockdown, and a lot of us are watching movies. Some of those are tango movies. And what I wanted to talk to Junior about was the impact culturally and musically of the modern tango movie. But in order to understand that, I think it's important to understand Junior's own background. Junior was born in Brazil and immigrated to Argentina in 1991. But you were a Latin dance champion. You were a lambada dance champion, jazz dancer. How did you end up in Buenos Aires, and how did you connect with tango?
Well, I like you said, I was a Latin dancer in Brazil, and as a Latin dancer, I like all kind of dances. I didn't dance tango at all, so I went to see a tango show that was touring in Brazil, and I saw the show. I fell in love with tango, and I said, "Oh, I want to go to Buenos Aires and learn the real thing." So I I was also a programmer, computer programmer. So I sold my computer, my motorcycle. I grabbed $3,000 and I went to Buenos Aires and I said, okay, I'm gonna spend at least 3 months here until this $3,000 lasts, and I'm gonna spend learning tango. But then I arrived here, I start working in a TV program, doing other things besides tango, and that allowed me to take more classes and to stay longer here. So I used to say that the $3,000 is still lasting, so that's why I'm still here.
It never ran out. Yeah, well, one of the things I think that's interesting is that when you came to Buenos Aires in 1991, there was this sort of rebirth of tango percolating. The movie Tango Baile Nuestra had come out and sort of looked at the art form. The old milongueros were still alive. Was there any, at that point, resistance to an outsider coming in and taking up
Well,
their dance?
yeah, I think that I was lucky to arrive in Buenos Aires early in the rebirth of tango, because the 90s for me was the rebirth of tango all over the world. And that was because of the show Tango Argentino in the 80s and films like Tango Baile Nuestro. So I was very lucky to arrive here to see the old milongueros, had classes with Pepito Avellaneda, with Antonio Todaro, with people that they are not longer with us, but they were the real thing. And I believe that at the beginning, these old milongueros, they are very, they welcome the foreign people. They welcome, yeah, come, let's go to the milonga, learn this, that. So I found the milonga a very open environment for a foreign. But when you start working here as a professional tango dancer, then the professional tango dancers, they are not like that. So they are a little bit, oh no, to be a professional tango dancer, you have to be Argentinian and this and that. So at the beginning was a little hard, but with a hard work, I could change that taboo a little bit. And now I feel that everybody accept me here and accept better a foreign dancer that decides to work here professionally.
What about the idea that tango in its roots is in fact an immigrant dance? It was the kind of the escape that was created by those immigrants in the late 19th century, early 20th century from Italy and from Spain and other parts of Europe that created the tango. Is there any
Yeah,
connection
that's
that you
that.
have as the outsider coming in? Does that have any special connection for you?
When I arrived here, I was totally ignorant of tango. I didn't know anything about tango, about the dance. I didn't know how to speak Spanish. I didn't know the history of tango, the orchestra. I didn't know anything. So I had to study a lot. So I was obsessed with reading, watching shows and films and whatever I could get, because it was not as easy as today that you just go to YouTube and put whatever you want and you have a ton of information. On that time, you have to go and find where they had the VHS with Tango Baile Nuestro, where they had the VHS with Pugliese in the Colón Theater. So it was not as easy as today, and I had a lot of this work to do, like to find where the information I could get. And then I always say to people that tango was created in Buenos Aires when more than half of the population was immigrant. So Tango Argentino was created by non-Argentinos, was created by the environment with a lot of people from all over the world.
Right.
So I believe that this thing, that this sadness, this nostalgia that you have when you leave your country and you try to make your dream come true in another country, that was what all those people had when they created tango. So I think that tango and immigrants are very related. So, but as I said, that was the Argentinian people. They are very welcome. They welcome a foreign person, and the Milongas, the same thing. And nowadays, things changed a lot because there's tango everywhere.
One of the things I think that's important is the way in which the tango movie impacted the development of tango in the 30s and the 40s. They were everywhere. There must be like, hundreds of those tango films that were produced, very much like the Hollywood musicals of the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
And then there was this sort of rebirth. What do you think is the most important or significant modern tango film, and why?
Well, I think that, as you said, like the 30s and the 40s was tango was part of Buenos Aires everywhere. So people used to dance more. People had their stars as as a tango singer or tango musician, and so there was a really the golden age of tango, 40s and 50s and 30s, 40s, and 50s. But then, because of the dictatorship here,
Dictatorship, yeah.
Dictatorship, that is it, dictatorship, and the rock and roll fever with Beatles and Elvis Presley, and we had here in Argentina the national rock. So the rock starts to kill a little bit the tango. And then so it was like 2 or 3 decades with almost no tango. So in the 80s was the rebirth of it, and I believe that a lot of new modern films are very important for that, like the Tango Lesson, like Tango Mas, like Tango. And for me, Tango, Carlos Saura's film Tango is one of my favorites, not only because I'm part of it, I was choreography assistant and actor on it, but I think it's one of the most artistic film. The director of photography, Storaro, he's like a genius in Hollywood and he has Oscars, and I remember I was in the set every time I could. I was in the set just watching them, how they work, how they look, and after that I decided to study filmmaking, and I went to New York and I studied filmmaking there. So I think that Tango, Carlos Saura's Tango's film is one of the most important one in the modern era.
It's a fascinating film because the story, well, first of all, it was nominated for an Academy Award in 1999.
Yeah.
You are in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're going to show a little piece of that. You play the compadrito or the assassin or the villain
Yeah.
in it. But the film itself, from a filmmaking standpoint, is fascinating because the audience is actually the audience in the film. We are watching the production of this stage play, but we're also like almost part of it because as the theater company develops and as all these different things start to happen, we kind of know
Yeah.
what's going to happen. We still don't know who's who. We don't know what is like the mafia is involved somehow, and there's all these sort of intrigues and romances, illicit romances, and it just sort of unfolds. And then the backdrop is, in fact, the history of tango, the immigrant experience, the military dictatorship. All of that is covered. And then it all comes together in this final scene, which I'm going to cue up. And then let's play this. And this is you, right? This is young Junior Cervila in Tango, the 1990.
23 years ago.
23 years ago. I'm going to play a bit of this and then let's talk about it.
Okay.
I'll stop it there. Like, if you want to see what happens next, watch the film.
No spoiling.
No spoiling. Talk about, but this is a fascinating scene. What's happening there? Just walk us through. What's your memory of this? How many times?
Well,
how many takes was it? And it's beautiful, beautifully shot.
It was very interesting because that scene, we had no choreography with Mia Maestro, the main character, the main actress. So they said, okay, here you just grab her. Saura, he's a genius. Saura, I think that one of the fact that this movie is such a good movie is because of all the people that had Carlos Saura as a director, Storaro as a photography director, Copes and Ana Maria and directors and all. If you see all these little young kids that were there, maybe people less than 20 years, now they are like famous dancers. You know, Sebastian Arce was less than 20 years. Cesar Coelho was less than 20 years. So if you see the Copes ballet, nowadays, more than half of these people are great artists. So I think that good artists made the film better, even better. And that scene, I had, so we didn't have any choreography. Saura said, you just grab her and drag her around because I don't want it to be seen as, okay, now you grab and do a choreography and this, and you dance like nicely. No, so she didn't know what I was going to do. So I just grabbed her and started doing. I think we did like 2 takes only, and I think the second take was only just in case, but the first scene was like boom, and it was all done. So it was very nice. I have very nice memories, and even now, 23 years later, when when I see this scene, I have like a very nice emotion.
Yeah,
Very
it's spectacular. Then after that, you mentioned that you studied filmmaking. I have a degree in film production as well. I was a broadcast journalist and documentary filmmaker. And what I wanted to explore with you was your next big project, which was in 2013, Tango y Sexo.
Tango y Sexo.
I have to say,
Yeah.
from a documentary filmmaker, as one documentary filmmaker to another, I thought it was just brilliant, because I think that in that you tackle a taboo subject in a very interesting way that looks like just smashes through a lot of those taboos, addresses them head on. It's a pretty gutsy film. Before I cue it up, actually, you know what? Why don't I cue up the trailer so that people can have a look at what
Okay.
film is about, and then let's talk about it. Because I think in order to understand what we're talking about, you really have to sort of see the context of it. Tango y Sexo, by the documentary by Junior Cervila in 2013.
El tango y el sexo. No existe otra danza tan sensual como el tango.
El tango es sensual y a veces es sexual.
Tango Argentino, so elegant, exciting, explicit, explosive, passionate, provocative, daring, so sexy.
Creo que es conocido y que es buscado en el mundo por su sensualidad.
Me gusta todo lo que sea el contacto con la otra persona. Creo que es el tango es sexual.
La parte sexual no me parece.
Uno ve en la danza una posesión animal del hombre con la mujer. Eso es muy erótico. Resulta muy erótico porque tiene que ver con el instinto.
No siento que soy una mujer.
What were you trying to say in that film?
Well, because I think there's a lot of taboos and things that you don't talk about, and I believe that well, the idea of doing that documentary came when I was studying filmmaking, and I read something about in journalism what sells more is death and sex. So I said, and there was very popular a show, a TV show called what was the name? Sex and the City.
Right.
So with all these 4 girls in New York and all the sex life that they had and this, so I said, why don't put, because you cannot talk about sex, it's a taboo. Why don't you explore this psychological thing that happens with tango and sex in a documentary, asking all this great people, Soto, Geraldine, and Copes and Nieves. So why we don't ask these people what they think, and let's put all together in a film. So
what was the reception like? Like it premiered in how did it premiere? Because I do recall that you marketed it, and then it was supposed to premiere in New York in 2013.
Actually, I filmed it in 2005, all the interviews. Then I did the version in 2006, and I showed here in Buenos Aires, and was a little bit like too controversial. And then I just put it back and did my life. And then in like 6 years later, I was in New York. I said, and somebody gave me a book about producing films, and I said, oh, I'm going to take this old project and put it and finish it. So I did the new cut of it, and I released in New York in 2013, and it was very well accepted. Actually, I filmed it in 2004 and 5, so that's more than 15 years ago. So in the film, when they say about a gay milonga, a milonga that two men were dancing, and that's normal. 15 years ago was not normal. That's why there's people that are surprised. Oh, gay milonga? Oh no, no. So some things. I think that there was a beginning of a revolutionary movement that nowadays is more acceptable, but 15 years ago was not.
It was groundbreaking in many ways, and even the reactions of some of the people that you interview. I mean, Maria Nieves. I mean, it's. I think that it's a serious subject, but there were very many funny moments. I mean, even the guy that you're interviewing drinking mate with a parrot on his shoulder, talking about eroticism. I mean, it's just, again, there's the mise en scène, the way in which you shot these interviews is just spectacular. But I can imagine that like people would look at this and they would kind of go, it's like, I think there's like 94,000 hits on YouTube of it. People would look at it and go, we can't really talk about that. I've shared it on our group page, and I've gotten zero reaction to it. I think people might look at it and go, interesting, okay, and then move on to something else.
Yeah.
Because it does deal with a lot of things that people might feel uncomfortable with.
Yes. Yeah. I think that, and also I, as a filmmaker, I put like different sides of the story. So I put this and I put that. I put what the old milongueros think, what the new milongueros think, what the open mind person think, what the closed mind person thinks. So I don't try to say, okay, this is what's happening. No, what's happening is different things. So you're gonna feel, and you're going to see in the movie different point of views, and then you take yours or not. But it's just like different points of view, not only mine.
The other thing that struck me about the film was the use of archival photos, like the one that we saw. Some of them were quite racy, and also archival films, like the fact that there's this sexual undertone in a lot of the 1930s and even 40s Argentine films. You managed to pick up.
Yes, yeah. I have a lot of archive, a lot of movies, and a lot of things that I put in a platform now that is called Tango Flix. And so I watched a lot of films, and I went to. I was in New York when I did the second cut. So I went to the library. I look for pictures or things like old pictures of prostitution, because that was the environment that tango was created here. So we could see all these aristocrats in a bordel, So I could find a lot of things like researching in libraries and films.
One of the things that happens after that is the next big breakthrough film is the biopic, the biography picture of the stormy relationship between Maria Nieves and Juan Carlos Copes, who are two friends of yours, I believe also mentors. They appear in the Tango y Sexo film. You interviewed them, and he was the choreographer and also one of the stars of Tango, the 1998 film that we were talking about. I'm going to set this up through the trailer, but what do you think the cultural significance is of the 1996 film, Un Tango Mas in Spanish, or Our Last Tango, I think was the translation in English? What is the cultural significance?
Yeah, that was 2016, I think, right?
That's 2016. That's right.
Yeah. I am very close friends to Juan Carlos Copes and Maria Nieves. He was my mentor, and I was his assistant for many years. I danced and performed with Maria Nieves since 2001, so I know them very, very well. I think that what they tried to do with the movie was a little bit going to like a reality show that you show conflicts Of course, that they had a lot of conflicts, but some stuff from that movie, I think, doesn't show the real relationship between the two of them. I think that still nowadays, he has a lot of respect to her, and she has a lot of respect to him. I'm not talking about love, but they respect each other as an artist, as a person. They have their conflicts, and they're separate. They don't talk, whatever. But I feel that because I interviewed both, so I have the full interview that I did with them for Tango y Sexo, that I just cut some little things. So I know that he would choose her as the best dancer and the best partner that he had, and she is the same thing. And that's not the idea that the movie lived to us a little bit. But so I think that some scenes and some dialogues on the movie was took out of context. For example, Maria Nieves in the film say, well, "Who the fuck is Copes?" Or something like that.
Yeah.
And maybe that phrase was taken out of so it's not what really happened in that relationship. But it is a good movie. I like the movie as a production. So all the places that they filmed. So it is a nice movie. And if you don't know Copes and Nieves, okay, it's a good movie. If you know Copes and Nieves, it's not the real thing. That's the only concern that I have. And the director asked me to dance with Maria Nieves, because after Copes, she only danced with me and with Pancho. So she had to dance with somebody, and she was not going to dance with Copes. So the director asked me to be part of the show. And then I filmed the scene, but then he decided to cut it, so it's not in the film. Then I got access to the scene, deleted scene, and I put it in YouTube, and I put it. Actually, I added and I put the version with the scene in TangoFlix, so you can see the scene, the film with the deleted scene
where they took it out. Let's take a look and then describe it for me afterwards. I'll put a link to all of these in the description of the podcast so people can check it out. What was that experience like? Because she was, I think, 81 when this film was shot.
Yeah, well, she's from 33, so in 2016 she was 83, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 83. Yeah. Yeah, she's from 33, so she was 83. And actually, it's amazing how the energy that she has, and when we dance, the connection that we have, because it's not a sexual connection because she can be my mother, but it's such a good connection that we had, and we enjoy dancing to each other. That is amazing. It's amazing. And she has no dance background, so she didn't do ballet or jazz or tap or whatever. She just did tango from the milongas to the stage, and she's a great artist. She just get out on stage as couples. They just get out on stage and then they fill the whole stage, you know, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I love to dance with her. Last time I danced with her was this year in February. We were rehearsing to go to Colón Theater. They were going to do Tango Argentino in Colón Theater. So Tango Argentino is going to finish with Patético that I danced with her. So we were rehearsing, and today she's 89.
Yeah.
87.
Yeah.
89 is Copus. So she's 7, she's still dancing, and it's amazing.
One of the things that during this lockdown, people have been sort of stuck at home. There's been like this sort of death of tango. My own events and Milonga. The Milonga that I ran is now this podcast to keep people kind of motivated and keep myself motivated to continue with at least being plugged in and talking to important people. You took a very entrepreneurial approach and created your own streaming service. I'm going to call it up. But while I call it up, why don't you talk about it in terms of what exactly it is? It's called Tango Flix.
Yeah,
so
Tango
here it
Flix
is. Here it is. You can see it here, right?
So you see, you can go to Tango films, you can go to documentaries, you can go to lesson, Broadway, Brazil films, concerts, Hollywood. So I just add some extras there, like Hollywood or Brazil films or folklore. But the original idea was tango films, documentaries, and lessons. You see, so you have all these big tango films from the 40s and from the 80s and from 2000. So you can see a very big archive of films, documentaries. So if you go to documentary, for example, you're gonna see the one that you said. If you just click up and in documentary, click in documentary, up in document, yes, and then you can see different. Like Maestro, you can see different things. See, so that there's a lot of things telling the history of tango and many other things. So.
And there's a membership here. It's a subscription service.
There's so you can pay for subscription. You can see, and it's we have like new lessons every day. Actually we have new content every day. So we have lessons, we have films, we have concerts, Piazzolla concerts, Pugliese concerts. We have Salgan in Colón Theater. So there's a lot of things that you cannot find like very easy, and things that you cannot find at all.
Like on YouTube or elsewhere.
Yes, I put everything in the same platform. So you just pay a membership like any other streaming platform, and you have access to all those things. So you just go to tangoflix.net. You can you can create your user. I give you a free trial week, and then if you like, you can choose your membership.
Now, what's the response been like to this, and where does it come from? Like, what parts of the world? Can you give us some idea of the analytics from that idea? Because I really want to kind of get a sense of. You are a unique entity in the world of tango, as I said at the beginning, in terms of dancer, filmmaker, choreographer, and digital content marketing strategist, which is a kind of new role in many companies. But you, I think, have been very entrepreneurial in that sense.
Yeah, well, we have people from Europe, people from States. Most of the subscribers, they are from States, United States. That's where I work more. So actually, before the pandemic, I was spending four months in the United States and 2 months in Argentina. So most of the people and the clients and the students that I have is from the States. But we have people from Europe, we have people from Japan, Brazil. So hopefully in China. Actually, China is one of my dreams that I didn't come true. So I have some places in the world because I know almost every country in Europe. I went to Japan 15 times, can speak a little Japanese, but China and Egypt are two places that I would like to go. I had 3 places. The third one was India, but I went to India last November, a year ago. So India, done. Now Egypt and China. Maybe in the future we're gonna see you. We're gonna meet together there.
I hope so. What is one of the things that has come out of the whole idea of the COVID lockdown for you as a dancer and entrepreneur? Many dancers are struggling, musicians are struggling. I've talked to a number on this podcast, and they're like, trying to break out. How has it been for you, and how are you mentoring young dancers?
Well, I always said that if you only have one income of money, only from one phone, from one place, that's very risky. Because if you have a problem there, you don't have any income. So try to be a little more diversified in anything you do in your life, not only to be a dancer or whatever. So, for example, we have with my wife Guadalupe, we have Cervila shoes. We sell shoes.
I was gonna show that when we met at your place, we were introduced by some friends of ours who invited me over, and you cooked dinner, and we watched Tropa de Elite, which is one of the most violent Brazilian films ever. And then at some point you met somebody mentioned, you've got shoes. And I said, I needed a pair of shoes. And you go, I think I've got your size. And then you sold me a pair of the Cervila dance shoes. And then I got you to autograph them. But they're fantastic. Again, the idea that a dancer has produced dancing shoes is quite entrepreneurial, but also part of that revenue stream that you're talking about, the multiple revenue streams.
Yeah, so I think that you have to diversify your income, not only to be, because I love to dance, I love to teach, so I teach, I perform, I choreograph, I coach. I have the shoes company, that we sell shoes. This year we didn't sell too much, but I did a very good sale just to sell the stock that I have. So at least we move a little bit money and we sell the stock, so things don't stay stuck there for a year. So I have rental properties. So we try to diversify. So when I see that. Because the art industry was hit hard with this COVID. So what I'm trying to do with Tango Flix also is to open a new income for teachers, because I'm now hiring. Before, at the beginning, when we were complete lockdown, I was just filming me and Guadalupe teaching. So now I said, I want to hire dancers that doesn't have any income because they don't have a show anymore to perform. So they come here to my place, I film their classes, I pay them, I upload to Tango Flix. So I'm starting this, I started this last month. So it's also an income for people that would like to put their classes in my platform.
How important do you think now, with the post-pandemic recovery strategies being developed by many businesses, and in fact, some of the businesses that I counsel are looking at that, messaging and things like that, what role does digital content play in that recovery for tango, do you think?
I think that technology helped us a lot, because imagine if this pandemic was 20 years ago, we didn't have internet, we didn't have any, well, we had the internet, but we didn't have all this streaming and video conference, you know, so, or 30 years ago, even worse. So I think that this was a way, using the technology was a way to make it a little bit less hard than what it is. But people are, they want to go back to milongas, they want to go back to hug each other, to embrace and dance, you know. This is just a way, okay, I'm gonna stay active during this pandemic. Yeah. But I want to do a party at home and call my friends, and you know, I cannot do that. I cannot do this. I just, you know, there's a year and a half that I don't see my parents. So there's a lot of, they're in Brazil, so they cannot travel. I cannot travel. So there's a lot of things that is very hard. But I believe that if we can use the technology to make us closer, I think it's a good thing. And the tango world, the tango, we should be like a big family, you know, because it's we should like put together our energy to make this happen again, because like tango was in the 70s and 80s, like fade out, and in the 80s and 90s we brought it back. So this, it's our responsibility, you as an organizer and producer, I as a dancer, the other one as a teacher, the other one as so we, as a musician, we should take this and not let the fear of the embrace kill tango, because that's the most beautiful thing that tango has, embrace.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And it's one of the ideas, again, of as an organizer, always documenting every one of the events that I put together using digital platforms. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about digital content and how to leverage it. What is it for? There's always this idea like, if it doesn't produce immediate income, then somehow it's useless, instead of seeing it as an influencer medium. Again, like you said, creating this opportunity to continue the connection, the discussions. And that's the whole point of this podcast and some of the other things that I've been doing. To wrap this up, this is a fascinating conversation. I hope you'll be back to talk a little bit more. But I mean, there's so much that we could look at. I mean, your career is so amazing. We've looked at some of the dancing videos that you've had with Maria Nieves and in the movie Tango. But I have to show this, and I have to ask you about this. This is like, again, achieved viral video status, and it is a performance of you and Guillermina Quiroga. And I'm going to just show it, and then let's talk about it, because I think it's something that everybody who's seen it kind of goes, ho, ho, ho. Let's take a look. And I'll put us in here. There we go. Now, just I'll play this because I think that people need to kind of see this. But at some point in this, Guillermina Quiroga's shoe falls off. And let's just kind of go through this. I'll stop it and leave a link to it. But what do you recall from that night? Because you can hear the gasps in the audience, like, whoa. And I've seen so many different performances from so many different performers. That, I think, has got to be in my top 3 that I will never forget.
Well, what I think is that as an artist and a performer or an actor, you should everything that happens to you in your favor. So even if you fall in the stage, if you I don't know, an actor has to improvise. That that was not the choreography. That was an improvisation. And I realized that she had no shoes, so her sandal falls off and just stayed with the strap on the ankle. So it was like flipping around. Or you desperate and you say, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Or you just take that as part of the act. So we just, I just kept dancing with her, and she's an amazing, amazing artist, amazing dancer. And she kept dancing, and she was excellent. Excellent. That was one of the performers that, and she as a performer and dancer, she followed. We also we never was like a formal partners, but we shared stage many times since '99, and every time it's a blast to dance with Guillermina. She's really an excellent dancer.
Junior, thanks so much for sharing your insights and your history and your experiences. It's been a great podcast, and I hope that you'll join us again next year.
Yes.
And we'll again just like pick up where we left off. Feliz Navidad. Hopefully
Navidad.
that you have a safe and happy Christmas, and best wishes to your family and to your wife. And I hope that we'll meet up again sometime soon, either here or in Buenos Aires or somewhere, or in New York. And thanks again for everything. And I will leave a link to all of these things. So if people want to take a look at them afterwards, good luck with Tango Flicks and all your other projects. And we will.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. It was a really pleasure to be part of this podcast and to bring a little bit of tango to people that cannot go physically to a milonga. So I think this is very important. Congratulations on your ideas. We had to be creative on these times. If you, it's like Charles Darwin, you'd say, if you adapt, you continue. If you don't adapt, you're out. So we had to adapt, and we had to be creative, and we had to wait for this vaccine and not have fear of the embrace, because I think that a lot of the information is stay away from the other people. Of course, now is the safest thing to do, but when the environment is safe again, we should go back to tango and to the essence of tango, that is the embrace. Merry Christmas, happy 2021, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you so much, Junior.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.